Hello, everyone. Today we're finishing chapter 9, and we're starting off at verse 37 and taking it all the way to the end at verse 62. Now, there are a bunch of individual events recorded by Luke here that you might think are kind of random, as though Luke just needed a place to put them, and this seemed like as good a place as any to stick them into his gospel. But you got to know that that's not how the Bible works. There's always a reason that the stories are where and as they are. Each of these smaller sections have a theme that seems to hold them together. As you read today, I'd like to ask you to pray about what God might be trying to communicate to you. What is the red thread that God is weaving into your life through these passages? Now, I'm going to drill into one of these accounts, and I hope that it's helpful to you. We're going to begin at verse 46 as we read this. Then his disciples began arguing about which of them was the greatest. But Jesus knew their thoughts, so he brought a little child to his side. He said to them, "Anyone who welcomes a little child like this one on my behalf welcomes me. And anyone who welcomes me also welcomes my Father who sent me. Whoever is the least among you is the greatest." As the disciples were arguing, Jesus could have ended their conversation by just asserting his authority. He could have simply said, "Listen, everybody, I am the greatest, and your focus should always be on that." And indeed, Jesus could have made a claim about his identity, but that's not what he did. Instead, he made it about his nature. By using a child as an illustration, he taught the disciples an important lesson in humility. Children in the first century were the least of the humans. Foreigners, slaves, women, they could all do stuff that could contribute to a household, even if they were undervalued. But kids, all they do is suck resources. I mean, sure, you could think of them as a long-term investment, but that was rarely how people thought of children. As Jesus says, "Anyone who welcomes a little child like this one on my behalf welcomes me," he's suggesting that the disciples should focus not on who and how great they are, but rather how they can humble themselves to the lowest possible station. Jesus is the Son of the one true living God. If anyone had the right to say, "Hey, I'm the greatest, it's about me," he had the right to do that. The example that he sets, however, is radically different. The Apostle Paul says it this way: "You must have the same attitude that Christ Jesus had. Though he was God, he did not think of equality with God as something to cling to. Instead, he gave up his divine privileges. He took the humble position of a slave and was born as a human being. When he appeared in human form, he humbled himself in obedience to God and died a criminal's death on a cross." The call of Jesus Christ is not about fortune and glory. It's about love in its truest and most powerful form. It's about sacrifice. The world has its own perspective of power and how to use it. Jesus teaches us something infinitely different. Which one are you going to choose today?
If these devotional videos are helpful to you, subscribe to our channel and click the notification button so you know when we post a new video. And of course, please share them with others.